Welcome to the first episode of SportsRoutes High School Showcase. My guest today is Coach Jeff, my coaching mentor. Coach Jeff, thanks for joining me, and how are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is, like I said, you're my coaching mentor. I got my start coaching from you, and I loved it. What got you to start being a coach?
Pretty much didn't want kids to go through what I went through. You know, it's some coaches out there. Yeah, there's a lot of great coaches, but they have some coaches out there that just care more about winning than the kids. So I experienced it and I didn't like it. So when I didn't like it, I was like, you know what? There's something I want to do. I want to help the kids out that was in my position so they won't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah, and when we coached together, you kind of preached that to me, the importance of not just being on top of these kids as their coach, but being on a more personal level, being there for them when they needed you. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned from you, was that there's more to the game than just the game. And so now you're coaching at North Miami. You're the wide receivers coach over there. It's your third season there, correct?
Fourth. It'll be my fourth.
You're heading into
Yeah.
your fourth. You have you've had a very good wide receiver room at your time there. Going into this upcoming season, what's that room like right now?
Oh, it's probably gonna be the best. Probably gonna be the best because this room here, I've been developing these kids for like about 2 years. So when I first got to North Miami, I was the running back assistant coach. Then the following year, I was the receiver assistant coach for 2 years. So the fourth year, pretty much, it was my only year being the receiver coach. So now it's like I have trained these kids where how I want them to run routes, how I want them to, like dissect the defense. It's not all about just running what's on paper. It's an art now. So according to what the defense give them, that's how we're going to run our routes.
Yeah, and this year you have Jamal Browder, who's been getting a lot of attention as of late. He's picked up a couple of scholarship offers, including Southern Mississippi. How has working with him and kind of this more improved group been for you as a coach? What have you learned from them?
I learned from them how to be patient. You got to be extremely patient, and you can't coach every kid the same. Each kid is completely different. Each background is different, so you have to approach each kid completely different. It taught me that some of these kids, they just want someone to motivate them. As long as you motivate them and you're teaching them the right stuff, they're going to listen to you and they're going to do everything you tell them to do, plus more.
So with that being said, you do your own training, turbocharged speed. What are some of the most important lessons you teach your wide receivers for any other young wide receiver to learn the importance of that skill?
The first thing first, you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself and you got to be confident. That's the first thing first. Before you come train me, you got to believe in yourself because I'm going to push you. I'm going to work you hard. I mostly work on fundamentals first. I'm not the guy who's all into the fancy footwork and all that stuff. I'm more into learning how to control your own body. As soon as you learn how to control your own body, then you'll be able to do everything that you need to do on the football field.
What are some of the most important drills you have you guys do to learn how to control their own body?
My main drill I pretty much do I call it around the world. It's pretty much them chopping their feet around the cone. Sometimes I'll just put one cone down and I'll have them do that for 15 seconds, for 10 sets. Just so them learning how to keep their feet under them. Because the main thing, a lot of kids running, their feet be outside of their base, outside range, and then that causes knee problems. ankle injuries. So as long as you learn how to keep your feet under you, that's a good fundamental start. That's the foundation right there. Then we could go to the next level.
What would you say is the most important asset for a wide receiver to have at the high school level? Obviously, you want to keep growing your game at every level, but at this level, what should they focus on the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one. What they should really focus on the most, I would say, catching the ball first. Catching the ball first, because I have Robert Brooks the third. He's not the fastest, but one thing he knows how to do is get open and catch the ball.
Yeah.
So, that's my possession guy. He's this year he got a little bit faster. So this year is gonna show what he can do with his new speed, but mostly catching the ball first.
So with that being said, there's been a lot of I know a lot of people look at the NFL as the prototype of players, and when I worked with you, this was when Odell was starting to get a lot bigger, so a lot of guys wanted to emulate his game. What do you do to kind of say that it's good to be like him, but not everyone is him?
I just asked them for their first and last name. What's your first, last name? That's not you. You gotta be your own guy. If you look up to somebody, you gotta be better than him. You don't want to go to the next level and be the same as this guy. No, it don't work that way. You have to elevate the game. You have to change the game. So you gotta be better than this person. That's why when kids used to come to practice doing the Odell stance, yeah, it's fun, it looks good, but that's not you.
Yeah.
He's his own guy. You become your own person. You become better than what he is.
With that being said, a lot of learning from the game is watching these guys throughout from college, high school, and so on, how they improve. Who are a few either professional or college guys that you've seen in your time that you watch them and say this is something that people should be watching and focusing on improving?
Me, I'm an old school guy. So I watch like the Calvin Johnsons, I watch Jarvis Landry. Like, what I try to teach my kids is, yeah, you like Odell, but what makes Jarvis Landry different than Odell? Jarvis Landry's a little bit more physical. So I try to get, attributes from each receiver, and I have my kids, I give them a list. And I be like, hey, I need you to watch Devin Hester for kick returns. I need you to watch Steve Smith for aggression and attacking the ball. I need you to watch Calvin Johnson to know how to body a DB out the way and go up for the ball. So, I don't have a favorite receiver, but each receiver has something that I like. And I try to
Yeah.
teach each kid that, like, look, you need to watch just different guys because they're going to teach you different things.
What do you go about when you're watching film with your guys? How do you go about that process to kind of help them improve? And do you when you guys practice, you film your practices, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the little things that you see in kids that you've been working with that you kind of see it repetitively at the young age of becoming a better high school player and so forth, that you kind of say this is an issue that's kind of in all of them?
Well, some place when they watch film, they just watch on, what the defense is doing. Like me, I'm not that type of guy. I'm gonna watch what the defense does, yes, but I'm more so of knowing your opponent. So if their best DB, I'm gonna ask my receivers, hey, when he comes in press, what's the first hand he throws out every time? So they have to be able to tell me, hey, coach, he always gonna shoot his right hand. Okay, if he shoots the right hand, now we know what to do when he shoots his right hand. What is this? Because what some people don't understand in the high school level, some of these kids, if you watch film enough, they will tell you what you're about to do because they're going to do the same thing every time. Every time the player's going to do the same thing. So to get an advantage, hey, look what this kid is doing when they're running a blitz play. You see how he's creeping up? and he did it on 3 different games. So that means this how we know he's gonna blitz. So to identify what the defense doing, I pick the weakest link on the defense and I see their mistakes. And once I see that, okay, that's what we're gonna attack, and that's how we're gonna identify what's the problem.
So this upcoming season, the North Miami Pioneers, what are we looking at?
We looking at a pretty good season. You know, last year we kind of struggled. We lost 13 players, and you know we had to play with a whole bunch of babies. You know, young pups. You know, learning the game. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, you know, it was a rough season, but it gave the young guys time to develop. Now, you know, unfortunately with this COVID-19, it's given a lot of teams. I hope they're taking advantage of it to actually, you know, have mental reps with their players. So now this season, you know, we just added, you know, 6'3", 6'4" quarterback, you know, from Pahokee High School, who just moved down here. Then, you know, we got the receiving core still intact, and then we just added Shaman. So now we're looking at a pretty good season. Defensively, we got some guys that just came in, and they're actually, with the young guy learning defense, it's going to be a pretty great season. Me predicting it, I think we're probably going to go like 8-2. If not 8-2, we probably go like 9-1.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll be there on the sideline for the state championship game, Coach.
Yeah, hope so.
But the last thing I want to ask you is, and we were talking about it before when watching film on pro guys and kind of taking and emulating from their game. A lot of what we've seen during the quarantine is Twitter, a lot of people saying who their top 5 wide receivers all time are, the greatest wide receivers. So you as a wide receiver coach, in NFL history, who are the top 5 best receivers to ever play the game?
For me or?
For you. From what you've seen on either film, old games you've watched, anything, who are the top 5 best receivers of all time?
For me, I'm going to go with Steve Smith. Love his attitude. Small. I call it little man syndrome. Small, but he going to give you everything he got, in my opinion. I'm going with Ocho Cinco. You know, he was cut short, but that's my all-time favorite receiver right there because he was confident. He felt like nobody could stop him, and he showed it on the football field every Sunday. He showed it on the football field. Jerry Rice, love it. Randy Moss, love the attitude. Hey, coach, give me the ball. I'm gonna score. And he lived up to it. And Calvin Johnson. Those are my top 5 right there.
Steve Smith, Ocho Cinco, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Calvin Johnson. Each one, when they were playing, were at the top of the game. So, I mean, it's crazy how. And Calvin also had his career shorted his own career, and it would have been nice to see what he could have done if he kept on playing. He probably would have broken some of Jerry Rice's records by this point. But Coach, Jeff, thanks for joining me. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to see what you guys can do on the field this year. Hoping we can actually get back out there, and it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
For more content like this, like and subscribe to our channel below. And check out our site, SportsRoutes.com, for up-to-date football news. And a special shout out to Beats by Jordy Burns for the creation of our intro.